That's nice. Awakening in chains. The taste of dust and iron fills your mouth. Chains bite into your wrists. Around you, torchlight flickers on damp stone walls, streaked with rust and blood. Above, 1,000 goblin voices chant the same word again and again. Meat! 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 A gate creaks open. A shove from behind sends you stumbling into the torchlight of the arena. You stand on blood-stained sand, surrounded by jagged stone walls and jeering faces. This is the fighting pit, and you are today's spectacle. Upon a throne made of bones and broken shields slouches the Goblin King. His armor is a patchwork of scrap metal, his crown a tangle of keys and skulls. When he stands, the crowd falls silent. A battered weapon lands at your feet. The drums begin again, slow and heavy. The first beat of your trial.
Behold!
Fresh blood for the crowd. A warrior from the world above, soft, shiny, and full of screams. Fight well, pit meat, and maybe I'll let you keep your head.
Trial of the Goblin King. A tale of Gorvak the Red Fang. The first thing Gorvak tasted was iron, the taste of blood and rust, thick upon his tongue. He spat, but the sound was lost in the thunder of distant drums. Chains dug into his wrists. The air was damp and heavy with the stink of mold, smoke, and sweat. He remembered fire. He remembered betrayal. And then, nothing. Now there was only the echo of the crowd above, chanting in a rhythm that matched the pounding of his heart. Meat! 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 He opened his eyes. The world was stone and shadow. Other shapes stirred in nearby cells. Broken men, silent women, all too weak or too wise to speak. Gorvak pulled once on his chains and felt them hold fast. Old iron, good dwarven make. He grunted in respect. At least his cage was worthy. A goblin's hiss broke the stillness. Wake, big one. The king wants his show. The creature's grin gleamed in the torchlight. Gorvak's lip curled, exposing a tusk. He could have crushed that skull with one hand, but the shackles robbed him of such mercy. Two more goblins approached, jabbing him with spears until he rose to his full height, bent low by the low ceiling, but still towering over them like a storm made flesh. They pushed him forward, down a tunnel slick with blood and grime. Drums beat louder, faster, until the sound became a heartbeat for the world itself. The tunnel opened, light flaring, and the smell of sweat and fear flooded his senses. The arena. Stone sand spread out before him, ringed by jagged walls and rows upon rows of goblin faces. Rusted chains dangled like vines from the rafters. Fires burned in old dwarven braziers, their flames reflected in pools of blood that never seemed to dry. And there, upon a throne of bones and scrap metal, sat the Goblin King. He was fat and ugly, and alive with cruel joy. His armor clattered with every movement, his crown a tangle of keys and skulls. When he raised his arms, the crowd fell silent. Behold! Fresh blood for the crowd, the king howled, voice echoing like metal on stone. A warrior from the world above, soft, shiny, and full of screams. Fight well, pit meat, and maybe I'll let you keep your head. Ha 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 ha! Laughter rippled through the mob. Something clattered at Gorvak's feet. A chipped great axe, its edge dull but serviceable. He picked it up, testing its weight, and looked up at the king. Let's see if your meat can bleed, Gorvak growled. The horn sounded. 2 goblins rushed from the side gates, crude blades flashing. They were small, quick, and eager, their eyes bright with the madness of the crowd. Gorvak's body moved before thought. Years of battle returned like breath. The first goblin's blade scraped his arm, a shallow cut, but that was enough. The scent of his own blood ignited the storm inside him. He roared. The sound filled the arena, drowning even the crowd. His great axe swept through the air, crushing one goblin from shoulder to waist in a spray of red mist. The second stumbled back, shrieking, tripping on the corpse of his kin. Gorvak seized him by the neck and slammed him into the sand, again and again, until silence followed. The crowd exploded. Red Fang! Red Fang! Red Fang! The king clapped, slow and mocking. Impressive. For meat. He leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Take this one to the cells. Perhaps he'll last another moon. The guards approached cautiously, dragging chains and shackles. Gorvak let them come. The storm in his chest subsided into a slow, steady burn. As they dragged him back through the tunnels, he looked once over his shoulder, back at the arena, the throne, and the jeering king. He would return to that pit, not as prey, not as entertainment, but as vengeance made flesh. And when that day came, the Goblin King's crown of bones would sit at Gorvak's feet. Field log, Gaze Carnival, /entry 01. Ricardo, Kestrel Hain, Charter of the Gloam, Expeditionary Archivist. Medium, Thormic Wax Cylinder plus Mirrored Vellum Backup. Objective, identify, map, and, if survivable, disengage the traveling anomaly, known locally as the Gaze Carnival. 00. Approach. You hear it before you see it. A Calliope song playing backward, the notes falling up like sparks into a windless sky. The meadow is a bowl of mist. Lanterns bloom one by one, each a pupil, and by the 6th, I already feel watched. A wooden arch stands where the moonlight thickens. Painted words jitter as if unsure of their alphabet. One ticket, one ride, one dream. The sigil on the arch is an eye split by a smile. I mark the rune with charcoal. The line crawls when I look away. Personal tally. Heart steady, hand steady. I have a knife, mirror cloth, salt, and the kind of courage that feels like a convincing impersonation. 00:04. The Ticket Master. The booth flickers into being when applause ends. Red and gold canvas. A porcelain mask shaped like a grin. The man inside is taller than the booth deserves. When he speaks, it's two voices braided so tightly, I can't tell which belongs to the mouth. Welcome, they say. The big top is free. Gold spends poorly here, but madness. They set a small tray between us, lined with, what else, tickets. Each one is warm, as if freshly exhaled. I lay down a silver crown. It darkens, turns soft, and sinks into the wood without a sound. One coin, one ride, the kind voice says. One glimpse, one wound, the other adds. He offers a second tray. It is empty to sight and heavy to the wrist. Or you may pay with clarity, both voices whisper. I think of the long road, the friends buried under colder stones than this. How much? I ask. Just a sliver, they promise, for 5 tickets. I let the tray touch my palm. The world tips. I smell fruit too far away to name. When I pull back, there are 5 motes of paper where nothing was. I take 3. No one should spend all of themselves at the door. Footnote 1. Transaction cost recorded as a headache that knows my childhood lullaby. Recommend limit of 1 madness for ticket exchange per operative per hour. 0009. Midway. When I step beyond the queue ropes, the fairgrounds inhale. Tense flare. The ground beneath my boots warms like a living hand. Everything arranges itself outward in spirals. The Ferris wheel is a skull's crown of iron. The mirrors are a city made of knives. Lanterns hang on strings that aren't there. A pair of locals pass me, eyes glassed, humming the wrong direction. Their necks wear the same sigil as the arch, a little redder, a little tender, like a kiss given with teeth. Don't stay long, one murmurs. The rides go on forever. I nod. I brought a watch. They laugh without deciding to. It takes them a moment to realize. 0017. The Eye Ferris Wheel. Up close, the ride is a pupil nailed to the sky. Gondolas hang like molted teeth, some half-melted, some chewing the wind. There's a pull in the bones here, a soft insistence toward the center. The field hums with a gravity that didn't finish school. Something small and many-eyed drifts between the spokes, like a lantern lost its wick and learned to be afraid. Others join. Their whispers sound like math done wrong. Squared. I keep one hand on the chain and one on the mirror cloth. The pull takes me 3 steps. I let it. The hub reflects the moon as if the moon is inside it. I say a name that is not mine, and the pull stutters. The swarm scatters, not from me, but from what my reflection has promised to do. I pocket a shard fallen from the rim, mirror but warm. It shows the world without me in it. That seems like power or charity. I can't say which. Footnote 2. Entities resemble ocular sprites. Avoid direct reflection contact. The hub amplifies whatever you bring to it. 0031. The Hall of Mirrors. Maps don't survive here. Only intentions. I intend east, and east arrives. Inside the octagonal pavilion, the corridors slide like eels. Every panel shows a different shame. Me, younger, braver. Me, older, finally careful. Me, finally dead of something ordinary, which feels rude. Another me waves and mouths, "Turn around." I don't. The maze understands the joke first. Doors lead to myself in exquisite dead ends. My breath doubles, then my shadow, then my heartbeat. When the panic reaches the part of me that counts, I pin a coin to my tongue. Copper's taste is an anchor. My reflection keeps it too. Good. Let the other me choke on sense. I trace prints in my own fog and exit where I have already left. Then again. Then again. On the 4th echo, I step sideways through a seam that isn't, but consent can make a wall a door. A copy follows with half my scars and twice my speed. We do not fight. We agree silently. Only one of us leaves. She bows. I bow back and do not watch her dissolve. I take the next shard as prize or apology. 0046. Bonfire Ash Circle. A ring of black glass. Stakes torn into loops. The wind lives here, but only as rumor. Sitting at the edge, I feel the music recede. The ash whispers 7 words, and I pretend I haven't heard them, because that's how you survive 7-word prophecies. You ignore them until they're true. I rest. When I rise, the world holds steadier. My hands are still my own. I leave a ration for whatever tried to burn this place to sleep and failed. 0105. Game midway. Bright tents lean shoulder to shoulder like conspirators. Wooden dummies grin behind counters. Their joints have never known blood, and yet someone taught them to clap. A sign, blank. A bell, too eager. A pond, too still. I throw a ring. It returns, having visited another timeline where we all made better choices. The prize is a plush eye that blinks when I don't. When I win twice, the lanterns spin, arranging themselves into a pattern that makes the back of my mouth hum. Hypnosis is just a lullaby with better marketing. I bite my tongue instead. The taste of iron complains but obeys. Somewhere, something disappointed in me ticks a box. They hand me another shard. It is small enough to swallow, and probably a sin. 0131, Calliope Stage. The stage is wood and hunger. Organ pipes like cathedral bones bow overhead. The sheet music is written in a language that does not wait for the reader. I lay the mirror shards in a spiral and hum a counter-melody, learned from a priest who lost his voice on purpose. The air tightens. I feel the shape of an eye close against the back of my skull. The pipes want to sing me inside out. I let them reach the first vowel, and no further. It works. The world brightens by a quarter shade, as if the moon inhaled. My wrists shake afterwards. A good ritual always knows where you keep your fear and counts it. 210. Performers row. Masks on pegs. Costumes with no bodies learning to sag. A journal wet with someone else's hand. If the ringmaster wakes, it reads, the tent becomes the world. The sentence is written 3 times. The third time is smudged, as if the writer tried to edit reality and failed. I pocket a vial labeled Tears of the Many Eyes, and promise myself I won't drink it unless a door needs opening that manners can't. 244. Rift spiral grass. Bent into a whirlpool. The center is shallow and endless. When I speak near it, my voice returns with an accent I've never earned. Psychic damage flashes color negative. I stagger, then, laughing, laugh at .312. The big top canvas, like bruised fruit. A ring, benches, props floating as if obedient to a smaller moon. The spotlight moves as though it has decided something about me. Applause rises without hands. I step into it. A figure steps out of it. A ringmaster all angles, polite as knives. His smile tries to be a door. The tent tilts around his voice. I have been expecting you, he says, and everywhere is true. I bow. He bows. Off stage, a dozen small eyes align like beads on a rosary. My pockets weigh more than tickets. My head weighs less than it should. Shall we begin? He asks. Yes, I say. The air makes room for teeth. 0354. After. There are parts I will not write, not for secrecy but for mercy. The tent learned my name and then unlearned it. I held a mirror to a mouth and made it choose which of us belonged in the story. We performed a ritual that far outstripped my competence, and only succeeded because somebody, me in another version or me in this one, refused to bow on the third cue. The lights went out in the order they came on. The applause receded into the dirt. I woke in a field that didn't know it had ever worn a carnival. In my palm, a bracelet made of tiny linked eyes. It says nothing and looks like a promise. On the wind, the last 7 words. Again, quieter, kind almost. The show never ends. It only moves. I walk toward town while the moon pretends not to follow. My pocket holds a ticket that will not dissolve. My head holds a gap that fits a certain song exactly. Personal tally. Heart steady, hands not. The mirror keeps catching me at odd angles. When I blink, something behind me blinks back. I decide not to turn around. For now, that's enough containment. Field log, Gaze Carnival, entry 02. Recorder, Kestrel Hain, Expeditionary Archivist. Interval, +3 nights since demanifestation, event 612. Post-exposure symptomatology. Auditory, faint applause in plumbing, especially after choices. Visual, mirrors lag by 0.3 to 0.9 seconds. Occasional extra me choosing differently. Cognitive, I avoid waltz time. My heart tries to dance in threes. Tactile, coins feel soft. Paper warms when I lie. I catalogue these the way one counts lanterns when lost, not for comfort, but for later blame. 1340. Interview with a door. The inn's washroom has a good mirror, old glass that keeps secrets out of habit. I pin the undissolving ticket to the frame with a shaving knife and ask, thoughtful, "Where are you going next?" The mirror answers the way lakes do. It shows me. But the me it shows wears red dust and carnival lights in her hair. Behind her shoulder, a field of black glass ash. She mouths, "South." I draw a circle on the mirror with soap. The other me draws a spiral. We disagree. The ticket hums like a coin on a table. 1803. Merchant He arrives with the sunset, a lanky man in a patchwork coat, a cart spilling talismans and bottled lights. His eyes are kind the way winter is kind, beautiful, and you die if you forget yourself. "You carry our loyalty program," he says, admiring the bracelet. His llama spits confetti when it chews. He feeds it a ribbon with writing I can't read unless I'm not looking. "I want out of the program," I tell him. "Oh, darling archivist," he sighs, as if I've asked to unburn paper. He produces a velvet box. Inside, a glass eye blinks once, twice, in perfect time with my pulse. "Trade up," he says. "Become a featured guest. All rides free, no queues, no names." I close the lid. The eye blinks through velvet. "How do I make it stop?" "Stop?" He tilts his head, sincerely puzzled. "Shows don't stop. They close. Different art." He sells me a bell that rings only in dreams, and takes a secret I thought I'd hidden better than that. Footnote 2. Bell note, A flat, dispels minor lantern illusions for 1d4 heartbeats. Llama named Best Audience. Don't ask. 2359. Mask children, again. They skip along the inn's second-floor hallway, no weight on the boards, paper tickets fluttering in their wake. I block the stair with salt and questions. "Are you dead?" I ask. They tilt their masks. The one with the smile nods. The one with the tear shakes their head. The one with no mouth taps the undissolving ticket pinned over my heart. "Come back," they whisper together. "We left our names in the duck pond." "I am not your mother," I tell them. "Neither are we," they answer, and vanish into the seam between walls where the drywall remembers canvas. Addendum A. Field recipe. How to make a door say no. Ash from the bonfire circle, cold preferred. A mirror shard that has shown you dead at least once. Your own name, spoken backward while not believing it. Trace the arch with ash. Press the shard to your tongue. Knock 3 times. Then refuse entry with your whole body. Works on carnival projections, most mid-tier glamours. Regret. Fails on applause. 211. Waking performance. Third night. The moon drags its net over the roofs and pulls up a stage. Lanterns line the street in a spiral I did not authorize. Snow moths orbit the lights and learn to be confetti. I ring the merchant's bell. For a breath, the world misplaces its colors. The lanterns hesitate, The spiral keeps forming anyway, patient as mold. I cut it with chalk into a counter maze, hex lines inside a spiral's mouth. Geometry is a kind of prayer when you mean it. The lights decide to be moths again. Not for long. 0303. The ringmaster calls. His voice blooms out of the well, the cobbles, the spaces between my ribs. Bravo! The understudy has instincts, cunning. You left with more than you bought. Come, return what you can't carry, little archivist. We'll put you in the front row. Send me a schedule, I say, and wish it sounded braver. You already have one. My pocket warms. The ticket wakes like a toothache. South, he says, with my other mouth. 420. Decision. I stand at the town gate where the road becomes the dark idea of a road. It smells like rain that forgot to fall. The bracelet's eyes are open. The stars protect. .420. Decision. I stand at the town gate where the road becomes the dark idea of a road. It smells like rain that forgot to fall. The bracelet's eyes are open. The stars pretend to be holes and do not succeed. I could burn the ticket. I could bury it. I could feed it to the llama if I find him again. It would still be under my tongue by morning, tasting faintly of sugar and stage dust. So, not out, through. I write this for whoever finds the next gate, or the next gate finds them. If you hear the calliope playing backward, walk forward anyway. If the masks speak prophecy, listen for the space between words. That's where your choice lives. If offered to pay with madness, pay once and keep the receipt. If the mirrors show you a better you, nod and keep going. They're flattering you into a loop. If a child offers a ticket, ask them their name. If they remember it, follow. If they don't, lead. I shoulder my pack. The bracelet tightens like a promise. The undissolving ticket flakes in my mouth, ash that sings. South is a rumor, and I am a collector of rumors. The show never ends, but curtains move. I intend to pull one. Next entry, placeholder, road notes to the Ash Coast, sightings, lanterns on water, carousel horses in tide pools, a gate built of boat ribs, interview with a reflection who won't stop crying until someone bows. Field Log, Gaze Carnival, Entry 03. Recorder, Kestrel Hain, Expeditionary Archivist. Vector, South Road to the Ash Coast, 2 days ongoing. Status, Tracking Post-Demanifestation Wake 00. The road decides. It's a river. South is a rumor disguised as dunes. The wind agrees to be my companion until it remembers it has other mouths. By noon, the road puddles into salt flats. By dusk, the flats rehearse tides. Lanterns appear on the water, one by one, like careful lies. I ring the merchant's bell, a flat. The nearest lanterns blink to moths for 3 heartbeats, then regret it and become lanterns again. I mark their positions. They are forming an eye big enough to drown in. Footnote 1. Eyes on water pattern repeats every 14 minutes. Currents drag toward the pupil. Do not stand where your reflection would prefer you to. 2:11. Tide Pool Carousel. At low tide, the rocks hold puddles like cupped hands. In each, a horse kneels, half carved from foam and shell. Their manes are seagrass. Their poles are boat nails. Their mouths are full of coins pressed smooth. When the water moves, they almost remember trotting. When I blink, they almost remember me. I test the spiral with chalk on slate. The horses shy from it, then press their muzzles against the lines as if trying to learn a different music. I feed a copper to one that looks like it wants to be gentle. It swallows the coin and lays down its head. The tide agrees to take it. 0330. Gate of Boat Ribs. The gate stands where shingle becomes true sand. 2 hulls upended and married at the keels, ribs yawning into arch. Scrimshaw scrawls along the inside, knotwork and the carnival sigil, and names salted out of legibility. A wind chime of tickets hangs under the crown. They are soft. They want tongues. I make the door say, no. Ash, shard, backward name. Knock thrice. Refuse with my whole body. The chimes sulk. The ribs lean. The sea withdraws a step, then 3. The gate remains. Later, I tell it. The bracelet of eyes is awake, every iris worried small. 0505. The reflection who won't stop crying. I find her in a pool that hasn't decided whether it is sea or mirror. Me, of course. Thinner. More honest. Tears loop from her eyes back into them, as if the world has learned to recycle grief. "Bow," she gasps. "Please." I try once. The tears slow and then resume. Twice. Slower. The third bow is a bow to the part of me that doesn't know how to kneel. The tears stop. She smiles. It is not my smile. It is better. "Thank you," she mouths. "You can go now." She does not vanish. She waits, patient as the tide. The trick of this place is not mercy, it's duration. I cover the pool with mirror cloth like a blanket. I leave a coin. I do not check if she takes it. 642. Lantern Audience. The eye pattern drifts ashore and surrounds me. Lanterns blink open with that polite cough the carnival uses when it wants to pretend it's not hungry. "Bravo!" says the ground. The voice chooses to be gravel because the wind is busy elsewhere. "Understudy, understudy. We are midway between curtains. Why walk? We could carry you." I like friction, I tell the sand. It proves I'm here. "You like being watched," the sand replies, which is unkind and also accurate. The bracelet tightens, a lover's reprimand or a leash's. I ring A flat. The lanterns take offense, which means they do me the courtesy of becoming honest. Small lit eyes hovering on wiry stalks, lids thin as sailcloth. They sway in time with the surf. Audience indeed. (0713) SCP Adjacent Containment Note. For myself. If (0713) SCP Adjacent Containment Note. For myself. If the show manifests on water, anchor eyes with iron tacks through wax paper sigils, sink below reflective plane to break gaze. If the gate tries to count you, breathe on the ribs until they fog. Write a number in the mist. Give it that and no more. If you meet yourself crying, bow 3 times, blanket, leave payment, don't stare. 8 o'clock. The duck pond moves. Children's toys float in through a cut of calm water. A dozen yellow ducks with tiny eye sigils painted under their chins. They bump my boots and spin, forming a spiral that makes my mouth hum a fourth above the bell's note. The music wants me to remember something I didn't do. I kneel. "Who left you?" I ask, "and where is the way back?" They tilt, their bills open. From each comes a small paper name, soaked and stubborn. I collect as many as will be collected. Most disintegrate into sweetness and rot. 3 remain legible. Nia, Tom, Caro. I tie the names to the wind chime of tickets under the boat rib gate. The chime rings once in D. The sea claps. The lanterns bow. I feel completely ridiculous and very correct. 10:29. The stage sets itself. Dune grass flattens into aisle. The sky stiffens a shade bluer, as if starch belongs to weather. Something in me starts counting. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Walt's heartbeat returning. I spit the undissolving ticket into my palm. It has become 2 tickets, or perhaps a ticket that understood plurality. I pin them with a fishhook to my sleeve. The hooks hurt. Reality attends to pain with better manners than it gives to speech. "Curtain," says a voice through the ribs, and an organ note arrives backward, tasting of copper and circus. I step beneath the arch before I can be welcomed. If you must enter a spell, enter on your cue, not theirs. 10:30. The Ash Coast Carnival. Everything is lighter here, not kinder, just bleached like bones in sun. Tents stitched from sailcloth. The Ferris wheel, not iron, but driftwood and brass. Mirrors framed in coral. The big top breathes with tide. The laughter learns to sound like gulls. I can feel the dream pressure, a subtle suction that wants to pop my ears and instead chooses to pop my certainties. I walk until my name feels misspelled, then stop. That's far enough. 10:47. Backstage, the quartermaster, salted. He is what shackles look like after seawater, all orange and regret. Chain through shoulder, ledger nailed to palm. He mutters inventory, eye stalk, rope, applause, breath, as if someone might audit joy. "Trade?" he asks without looking up. "For what?" I ask. "Memories," he says. "Nails." Either I give him best audience's ribbon, the llama would forgive me, I hope. He gives me a map that changes when I breathe on it. It shows exits like fish show direction, briefly, then with contempt. 11:22. Second ticket master. Same booth, new accent. Sand-scoured vowels, smile chipped from shell. The porcelain mask's grin is too wide even for this shore. "1 ticket, 1 ride, 1 dream," he says. And underneath, in the mocking register, "Or 5 tickets for a fraction of you, archivist. Be economical." I brought my own economy, I say, and lay the bracelet on the counter. It adheres. It shouldn't. His hands flutter, hungry. "Upgrade?" the kind voice asks, hopeful. "Downgrade," I say. "Take it off my record." They laugh together. For a second, the mask fogs from the inside. I lean close. Behind the eye holes, the pupils are my pupils again, and they are tired. "Please," the tired part mouths, with no air to carry it. I ring A flat very softly. The porcelain webs with cracks the way old ice does when it remembers lake. I take the bracelet back. He does not stop me. The kind voice whispers, not to me, "We are so very tired." I leave a name on the counter, Caro. The paper shivers and becomes heavy, which in this place is a form of forgiveness. "12:40, the call, again." The ringmaster does not always bother with tent or stage. Sometimes he borrows weather. Clouds arrange themselves into a velvet proscenium. The sun decides to be a spotlight and gets it right on the second try. The applause arrives from underneath, like a subway you forgot to stand clear of. "Understudy," he says, gentle as throat-cutting. "You've learned your marks." "I learned how not to be scenery," I say. "All audience is scenery," he croons. "All scenery is a stage that forgot to introduce itself. Then introduce me, I suggest, and show him the bell, the map that resents me, the fishhook pinning the tickets to my flesh. I brought props. He laughs, laughing honestly delighted. The wind joins him. Ha 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 ha. Act 2, then, he says. I do love a coastal production. 1300. Curtain up. I am going to walk into the big top built of tide and sail. My pockets hold 2 tickets that will not dissolve, and 1 bell that will ring once exactly when I cannot afford it. If I do not exit by dawn, tell the door to say no. Tell the sea my name backward. Tell the horses I brought a coin. Tell the merchant his llama is owed 3 apples and a song. I have remembered a thing that may be useful. Mirrors lie when you beg them. They tell the truth when you bow. If I bow in there, I intend it to be a weapon. K.H. Field log, Gaze Carnival, / entry 04. Recorder, Kestrel Hain, Expeditionary Archivist. Site, Ash Coast. Demanifestate, Sailcloth, Big Top. Instruments, Mirror Cloth, a flat dream bell, fish-hooked undissolving tickets ×2, salt chalk, 3 names, Nia, Tom, Caro. Status, final entry 00:00, house lights. The Big Top is stitched from old sails and storm warnings. Its ropes are knotted with barnacles. Its pennants drip a tide that forgot how to stop being sky. The door flap is a whale's mouth held open by etiquette. Inside, sand learns to behave like velvet. The ring is a wet halo. Benches ascend in scalloped tiers. The audience has gills, not all, not uniformly, but enough that applause sounds like the sea agreeing with itself. Open, shut, 1,000 quiet apercula. Their eyes do not blink, their throats do. At the far end, an organ made of salt squats like a cliff that learned hymns. Pipes encrusted in rhyme. Keys carved from whale tooth. Every draft tastes like a promise that will sting later. I walk to the center ring. No one stops me. It is not that kind of mercy. 00:04. Places. The air arranges itself into a spotlight. It chooses me. It has chosen me since entry 01, but now it admits it. The ringmaster enters without doors. Sailcloth gathers, shadow condenses, and a smile steps forward wearing a man. When the smile tires, the man reveals an eye large enough to be a festival. Eye stalks like rigging shake loose confetti shaped like hush. 2 voices, velvet and nail. Understudy, he says. You brought props. Clever. I hold up the bell. I brought an interval. He is delighted. The audience inhales deeply. 00:06. Warm-up. I lap the ring once, dragging salt chalk in a spiral. Mirror shards placed at vertices. Each shard shows me blinking late by a fraction. Each shard forgives me for it. I pin the tickets to the spiral with the fish hook. They bleed rust. From the benches, the guild lean forward as one organism, their mouths round in a vowel I can't pronounce without water in my lungs. Tonight's program, I say, is exit music. The ringmaster bows. Encore first. I'm unconventional. 00:11. Cue the salt organ. I ring A flat. The Big Top winces. The lanterns turn briefly honest. The sailcloth shivers like a whale remembering an old harpoon. I sit at the organ. The bench is damp. My fingers leave prints on the keys that the keys keep. The score is not on paper. It is written in pressure. I play the counter-melody I stole from a priest who surrendered his voice to buy silence for a village. The sound comes out backward and correct. The audience claps with their throats. The ring fills with steam that does not choose a direction. 00:14. Dialogue. You can't close a show, says the ringmaster, strolling the rim, eye stalks tasting the air. You can only send it on tour. I can refuse billing, I say. Ah, he purrs, consent. The word wears his mouth like a mask. Do you consent to being seen? Not by you, I lie. He laughs cleanly. The audience laughs as the sea would, by moving away and returning. 00:17. The bow as weapon rule. remembered from entry 03. Mirrors tell truth when you bow. I face the nearest shard. I bow once. Truth. I am afraid. The second bow. Truth. I like being watched. The third bow has to be a gift, or it's a contract. I kneel with my hands open and say the 3 names I brought, Nia, Tom, Caro, into the shard until my breath fogs its face. The shard warms. A child's laughing laugh threads the organ's throat. Someone in the guild audience loses their rhythm and cries. Salt does not weep, it deliquesces. The organ's pipes begin to drip. The ringmaster tilts. A dedication, his smile thins. How provincial. 0020, the attempt. I press the bell to the organ and ring A-flat into its ribs. It swallows the note, then burps a chord I have met only once. In a ruin under a church where the stones still sing own names. The salt flashes white. The spiral flares. The tickets try to be moths and fail. I speak a refusal the way you speak a door shut. Full body. No. The tent exhales sharply. For a heartbeat, the audience remembers their hands. For 2, the spotlight misplaces me. For 3, the ringmaster is only a man wearing a smile that doesn't fit. Then the show remembers itself. 0022. House right, house wrong. Lair. Actions are stagecraft with better budgets. The ground tilts toward the center. The organ reverses the humidity of the air. Mirrors flower across the sailcloth like frost. I am pulled into the spotlight as if by name. The bracelet on my wrist tightens until the eyes are pupils. Only pupils. No iris. No white. Each points a little away from me, as if trying to look anywhere else. Encore, the ringmaster purrs. He's close. He smells like dust teased into glitter. Bow again. If I bow now, it's to him. The rule changes hands. I keep my spine, and for a moment that is bravery. "0024. The audience with gills. They stand. They open. The sound is rain taught by knives. Their throats applaud. Water slicks my boots. The ring becomes shoreline. The tide votes for the show. The first row steps down. Their eyes are holes that got good at pretending. One holds up a mirror with both hands. It shows me not playing the organ. Shows me left inside entry 02. Shows me winning. A small, tasteful victory with excellent lighting. Don't, I tell it, which it accepts as encouragement. 0026. Contract. The ringmaster extends his hand. The palm is a stage trap. The lines are railroad tracks. I will take your schedule, he says, echoing entry 02 because everything echoes everything here. I will give you billing. I will keep your name spelled correctly. I will never let you be alone in a room again. I step back into the spiral. The fishhook pulls. The tickets tear. Rust kisses my sleeve. I ring A flat with a hand that is a metronome beating the wrong time. The bell chokes. The salt organ laughs in C minor. 0028. Curtain. I understand, too late, the bit in entry 03 about duration. This is not a fight. It is an audition. The spiral was a stage mark. The mirror bows were blocking. The bell was a cue. I have been hitting my marks. I am very castable. The ringmaster inclines as if I've remembered a hard line. Understudy, he says softly. You are on. He touches the air where my shoulder pretends to be. The air accepts the touch. My shoulder follows. My feet learn to be set pieces. My lungs learn a new choreography. In with water, out with song. The audience with gills claps without irony. It is the kindest sound I've ever heard. 0030. Final. I would like to say I did something magnificently unwise, and it worked. That I broke a rule by loving it. That I rewrote a cue and left. Instead, the spotlight lowers until it becomes a collar. The bell hangs from my throat and will ring when he tells it to. The bracelet opens its eyes and refuses to blink. My knees find the ring salt and memorize it. I try to say no one last time. The word arrives as encore. The ringmaster kisses the air in front of my mask. Welcome, he says, gentle as a harpoon in a museum. You will save us so much rehearsal. He turns to the audience, which is the sea, which is the world. Ladies and gentlemen and otherwise, he begins. I look for the mirror cloth. A child on the third tier, no gills, just a paper mask and a stubbornness I recognize, holds it like a flag. She bows to me. The truth strikes like weather. I am part of the set. Sets can close a show by collapsing on cue. I bow back. The sailcloth shudders. The organ takes on water. The tent begins to remember shipwreck. The ringmaster laughs, delighted even as he steadies the mast that is himself. Ah, he says, good instincts. The audience keeps clapping with their throats while learning, briefly, the old trick of lungs. The bell rings once, perfectly A-flat. It is the best note I have ever made. The salt melts. The rope goes slack. The tide comes in, singing my name backward, and gets most of the letters right. This is containment in its way. Not for me, for the moment. The show never ends. It only moves. If you find this cylinder, I am house left, third bench, fourth mask, the one that fogs a little when you think of running. Bow 3 times. Take the child first. K.A. Cylinder dissolves into warm paper. 2 undissolving tickets separate into moths and fail to fly.